Hey everyone, welcome to this video about everyday witchcraft practices that I personally use. I'm wearing my vampire teeth for the first time in this video, so we'll see how that goes. I want this video to be a bit more chill because recently I feel like I've been super perfectionistic with my videos and very focused on staying on track, saying everything as fast and as clearly as possible. And this one, I'm just trying to chill the F out a little bit so we can all have fun together. So what I want to talk about is how witchcraft really factors into my everyday life. This is going to vary for everyone depending on what you believe in. Personally, I'm a pantheist, which means that I believe that divinity surrounds me anyways. I believe in the omnipresence of magic and of divinity around me, which means that it's something that I can always tap into, something that I can always connect to if I want to. To me, this isn't about routines. This is more about tiny, very potent rituals, or you could maybe even call it spells, that just make me feel like I'm setting an intention, I'm more focused, I'm more present in the moment, I can act more consciously, and I have more of a grasp of my mood and my mindset throughout the day. I hope I don't look really weird speaking with these teeth. If I do, I'm gonna have a lot of fun editing this. But it's fine, I'm not insecure about it. These are a part of me. No, they aren't a part of me, I can take them out. But anyways, so the first thing I want to talk about is runes. Now listen, I do not have a very solid knowledge of all the runes, neither do I use runes for divination. This is more me using them in their symbolic value. And it doesn't even have to be runes. It could be sigils, it could be any sort of symbol, it could be planetary symbols, because what I do is I either draw them on my skin or I trace them into my food. And what this does is it kind of tunes you into a tiny moment of intention and a tiny moment of feeling connected to something. So let's say I want to think about love, or I want to not manifest love, but more like tune into the vibrancy of love, the vibration of love, if you know what I mean. Then I could draw the symbol for Venus on my wrist. Like this spot is one where I usually draw things very, very often. I also thought about getting tattooed there, but then if I get tattooed, it would be weird to also draw next to it. So I don't know if I should do that ever. So this is just a way of reconnecting with those energies throughout the day. If I feel like I'm insecure, if I feel like I'm anxious, or if I feel like for this day I'm going to need more support from a certain energy that is not very present in me right now. This could be ease, this could be calm. Then I will draw a symbol for it on my skin, or sometimes I also trace it into my food. Sometimes I also visualize it as I drink things, or like I visualize it going into the water. But I don't do that one so often. By far, the one I do the most is drawing on my skin. You know, you can also just use symbols for harmony, for balance, for healing especially. If I don't feel good, I will draw the symbol for healing on me that I got from like a very old Scott Cunningham book. I don't even know where he got like the meanings for these, if these are legit or if he just made them up. I don't know, and it doesn't matter to me. But for me, that symbol has taken on the meaning of healing, and that's why I use it. I even, and this is where people are gonna say, okay, she's crazy. I even, when my phone was breaking down, made a little note that had the healing symbol on it. I have this tea-stained paper that I sometimes use to write down rituals or to write down intentions and then burn them. And I ripped off a piece of it, I drew the symbol of healing on it, and I put that on my phone at night in order for it to work better. And it worked for quite a while. And I'm not going to say I fixed my phone with it, but you know, I'm filming with the phone right now. Well, I do have a new phone actually, but I'm still filming with this one anyways. That's a whole different story. But the point is, intention matters. Intention and thoughts matter. And that is why symbols matter, because they are encapsulated intention and encapsulated thought. So that is one thing I do. So important is that you don't just draw it and are like, whatever, I'll draw the symbol on me. But do it with intention, maybe say some words, maybe say this symbol signifies comfort to me, this symbol will accompany me in cultivating more ease or more self-confidence if you have to give a presentation, something like that. Just make sure you mention the intention in a way. Wow, oh my God, that's like, I'm a poet. Mention the intention. Oh. Anyway, this second one is going to be especially useful for people who have a sensitive nervous system or just feel like their energy field is sensitive. How would you know? You would know if you get influenced very easily by other people being present with you, or by you entering a place and it changes your mood. Now that's the case for a lot of human beings, some of us more, some of us less, depending on how strong you are in your own energy and how confident you are. For me personally, it is very, very important that I try to feel my own energy, other people's energy, and my environment's energy, meaning a place, when I enter a new space. Because I often, step over a threshold, don't really think about it, and start feeling differently. Especially if I'm at the office, for example, if I go to an event in a positive way, you immediately feel different. If you get into a club that you've been trying to get into for a while, or that you've been standing in line for hours, then, you go over the threshold and it does something to you. It does something to you. And even if you're not a sensitive person, and I think it's important that we are aware of this. With the positive instances, those are fine. You can ignore them, quote unquote. But with the negative ones, we have to be careful. If you step over the threshold to your office every day, and every day you start feeling kind of like, ugh, as soon as you go in there, that has meaning and that has importance. And that is something you should engage with and question. And for me, that means that I set my energy more consciously, so that in the morning, or when I'm looking in the mirror, or when I'm getting ready, when I'm putting on makeup, when I'm putting on clothes, I say certain things to myself, certain words of power, or I do certain things with my body that make me feel more at ease and that make me feel like my vibe is more set. A lot of people will use that terminology, setting your vibe in the morning. Most people are like, what the fuck does that even matter? What does it even mean, But it means that. It means that you have a strong core. If you are happy, if you are in a good place, your energy is set and nothing can pull you down. And that is also what some people call a magical armor or a magician's armor. I definitely use that as well. You can also, visualize a bubble around you. You can visualize light around you during meditation. All of these things work as long as your intention is to protect yourself and protect the mood and the vibe that you are in, essentially. And that is why it is so important for me to feel out what's going on around me, because I can't really turn that off anyways. I'm going to feel it either way, how the people are around me, how the place feels around me. And by consciously tuning into it and then taking myself out of it and separating myself from it, it's a lot easier to deal with than if I just slide in there. I'm like, whoa, what the fuck is happening to me? I have no control, nothing, So treating this consciously is very important, and that is the second tip that I have, feeling the energy and setting your energy in the morning. The third tip I have is for magic or for spell work. And it is to not let the energy that you create by exercising, by dancing, by sexual activity, to go to waste. because oftentimes we create a lot of energy when we do those things. When you do a long workout, when you go for a run, you create a lot of energy with your muscles. And I think, you know, there's excitatory and inhibitory energies, or ways of creating energies. And those are definitely excitatory, obviously. And you can use that time to set an intention before you do a workout, or even while you do a workout. You can visualize the spots in your body that you want to change. For example, while you do push-ups, visualize how you want your muscles to look, how you want your arms to look at the end. And obviously, it's not just about the looks, it's also about how your body feels. But I think if you set that intention in your mind, it can go a long way towards focusing you on that goal and on that intention that you have. You can also set your intention for something completely different and say, okay, I want to manifest money, or I want a new job. And you say, all of the energy that I am creating during this workout, during this run, or during this dancing, is going to go towards that. Basically setting the intention and saying, okay, all this energy that I'm creating will go towards that goal now. And I think that is a very good way to make use of something you do anyways, and just do it more consciously and more in the moment, and kind of have like an additional effect to it. Now, the fourth tip I have is shower cleansing. A lot of people talk about this. Visualize the shower cleansing you essentially. As you step in there, if you work with chakras, you can focus on your crown chakra, especially being cleansed by the shower. Or you can focus on your hair, you can focus on your skin, whatever you feel needs the most renewal or the most cleansing. Or even body parts who need some love, who need some, care. Focus on those, really feel the water on them and visualize it cleansing them, healing them. Visualize the water in different colors if you want to. Visualize light instead of water. But it's a great way to blend together the sensual experience of having a shower, because you feel it on you, obviously, and the mental aspect of setting an intention at the same time, and of having an idea of what this sense that is happening to your body is doing for your mind and is doing for your body in more than one way, not just in the, it's physically cleansing it sort of way. You know what I mean? Now, the fifth tip is finding words of power or affirmations that work for you. I recently made a video about affirmations and shadow work. I'm going to link that below. And that can really help. If you know in certain situations you get insecure or you get annoyed by things, sentences of power or words of power can really help you identify and deal with those situations that make you anxious, that make you stress, that make you feel joyless, that make you slack and feel not good about yourself, So this is basically about summoning forth positive energy. And depending on what you believe in, this will look wildly different. For example, for some people, they call upon goddess or they call upon God to stand by their side. Or maybe words of power for you come from poetry. Maybe you just say certain things about your own capabilities, about your own skills, trusting your own skills. Say a line of poetry about that. Or maybe you just call to the universe, or you call to your spirit guides, your ancestors. There's so many different beliefs and paradigms that you can work with here. And, as someone who identifies as a chaos witch myself, I work with most of those whenever I want to, because whatever is the most helpful paradigm for you to operate under, you should operate under and not be afraid of it. You don't have to say, okay, I dedicate myself to the one true God and I can never call upon any other entity. You can always call upon God if you feel like it. That is how I see it. Other people are going to see it differently, probably. But that's how I see it. And yes, of course, there is value in dedication, but I think we shouldn't lock ourselves out of potent ways of engaging with different entities out there, if we might as well do it, if we might as well try it for ourselves, you know what I mean? And that sort of leads to the sixth and last tip, which is to work with archetypes. I have briefly talked about this in a couple of videos. I've made a video about working with Yennefer from the Witcher series, the video game / book series, and also now Netflix series, actually. That came as a surprise. I made a video about that, and that is essentially my practice with it. I identify a weakness that I have, for example, that I'm too logical, too anxious, too stuck in my mind, and then I'm like, what archetype, what character could help me with that? What comes to mind is, for example, Luna Lovegood, who is very much stuck in her own world. She has this Aquarius vibe of just being herself, not caring what others think, like legitimately not caring, not being aggressive about not caring, but just not even being aware of it. She's in another fucking sphere. And that is an energy that I sometimes like to work with if I notice that I'm too stuck in my head, I'm too anxious, I think about things too much, or I think about other people's opinions, etc. And then Yennefer, as I explained, was all about bravery. And you can work with any pop culture archetype like this, or even tarot archetypes like the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Wands. There is no limit to working with archetypes, and it is a relatively easy practice once you identify which characters from your childhood or which figures in your adulthood have meaning to you and speak to the issues that you have, or speak to the hang-ups that you have, speak to the struggles that you have. Once you figure that out, you can use it pretty easily by just calling upon them, visualizing them, thinking about their name, thinking, what would XYZ do? What would Chuck Norris do? You know, what would Chuck Norris do, as they say? Yeah, I've never worked with Chuck Norris as an archetype, and now I'm a bit intrigued. Anyways, so this is my view of basic witchcraft practices that you can easily do every day. I have a lot of other psycho-spiritual thoughts on my Instagram. I have a Patreon if you want to support me. That would mean a lot to me. And I'm just going to link some more videos about the whole witchcraft topic. I've done something like this before. This was like easy witchcraft practices if you're depressed or if you aren't feeling good. I'm going to link those down below as well. This video is going to be more about everyday practices, not so much the easy, like, oh, I'm not feeling good practices, but the how to integrate witchcraft into your everyday life sort of practices. So thank you so much for being here. All of the cool stuff is linked below. If you want to dwell in my domain a little longer, feel free to subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Have the greatest of days and the greatest of weeks.